Okay, everyone, welcome to another vintage video here on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be playing some Oath of Druids. This enchantment has been out for like 25 years and it still keeps improving because the creatures keep getting better and better. So basically, Oath of Druids is trying to be a 2-mana enchantment that is cheating a big creature into play with, I guess you can call it like Suspend 1 or whatever. So when you play Oath, it doesn't do anything. Then the following turn, you get a trigger in your upkeep if the opponent has more creatures in play than you, which hopefully they will, partially thanks to, us not playing any small creatures and our opponents, well, hopefully putting some creatures into play. And if they don't, we can help them a little bit with Forbidden Orchard. I remember when this card got printed and it was just like absurd again, like with Oath of Druids. And yeah, it's still true to this day. This land can kind of backfire. Let's say you don't draw Oath and you have to like do some setup, etc., etc. Then all of a sudden your opponent has like 3 or 4 spirit tokens and you can die to those. So let's keep an eye out for that one. This is a combo deck that also has 4 copies of Show and Tell as like payoff. You want to put Atraxa or Bolas's Citadel into play. And you also have a copy of Flash, which is kind of cool. It's very good with Atraxa. It's basically like a draw 5, draw 6 at instant speed. So this deck is pretty threat dense. Yeah, as I said, this deck is trying to Oath into Atraxa Grand Unifier. It's a 7-mana, 7/7 Flying Vigilance Death Touch lifelink with a great ETB trigger. So you reveal the top 10 cards, and then for each card types being land, artifact, enchantment, planeswalker, creature. And then you can choose one of each, put them in your hand. I can see they also listed battle here as we're not playing any battles, but yeah, we're looking to finish the game with cheating Atraxa into play, drawing a bunch of counter magic, hopefully like something like a Time Walk, and then attack for the win. Mana base is pretty straightforward. As I talked about, the orchards, fetches, duels. We have a couple of Besejus. This is pretty cool. Like it's basically just a forest, but it has the upside of also being a disenchant. And please note that with Atraxa in play, this is going to be 1 mana to activate, which is pretty absurd when you think about it. Then we play the restricted list, and we play some counters like Mental Misstep, Flusterstorm, Forces, and we have a full playset of Oko. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, because Oko is like your plan, let's call it plan C of the deck, but it pitches to Force of Will and Force of Vigor out of sideboard, so the cost isn't that great. But the thing is, the Mirror is somewhat popular, and against the Mirror, Oath of Druids is like, it's a balanced card, so how do I know my opponent has more creatures than me in play? Then at that point, it becomes like an Orchard War, who can draw the most orchards. But Oko kind of circumvents that and can just win the game on its own. So if the Mirror wasn't in the picture at all, and I was the only one in the world playing Oath, I would play maybe 2 Okos. So yeah, that's a nod to the Mirror being out there. Sideboard tries to address creatures, especially Containment Priest. We want to kill that with Dismember or the Abrupt Decay. Force of Vigor against pesky artifacts or enchantments. Could be Ursa Saga decks, could be Workshop decks. Then we have a couple of other Tinker targets. Sphinx is gonna really shine against, especially like Squeevine, like aggro decks that can't really do anything about the life swings of this card. Then we're going to have 1 copy of Portal to Phyrexia, which we're going to tinker up against Mono White Initiative, hopefully. Null Rod against Fast Combo. Mindbreak Trap against Fast Combo. Tabernacle is good against Bizarre decks, making a big board, like Hollow One, Rootwalla, Vengevine. Then we can play this card and kind of catch up. A little bit of Graveyard Hate. Not sure about that. And then the big one I think we have to talk about is Serra's Emissary. So, 7 mana, 7/7 flying. We know that from Atraxa. But it has an interesting static ability. As Serra's Emissary enters the battlefield, choose a card type. We already went through the card types with Atraxa. You and creatures you control, which includes Serra's Emissary, have protection from the chosen card type. So let's say we're playing against a deck that can only win the game with combat damage. If we name creature with this card, they need to have some kind of instant or sorcery removal for it. Otherwise, it's just a lock. So I'm looking to have this against decks like Dredge, and then hopefully lock them out of the game before, I can get hit by Creeping Chills for the win. Different situations like that. Maybe even Mono White. I think if I go Mono White, bring it in against Mono White, then I think they have to have Swords to Plowshares in the deck, which is not a given at all. and we can potentially lock them out of the game. We do have to worry about the trap room on the initiative, which can theoretically finish us off. But yeah, Oath of Druids, like proactive deck. It's basically the deck wants to ask your opponent questions, and yeah, let's ask our opponents some tough questions today. That'll do it for the deck tech. See you guys for some matches. Okay, here we are for some vintage action. We lost a die roll. We don't have any lands in our opener, but we do have a lot of other stuff. So basically, we can go. Let's see here. We go Black Lotus. We go Mana Crypt. We cast sack Lotus for blue, sack Mana Crypt to Tinker, floating 2 blue. At that point, we're casting Tinker with double Cluster backup. If the opponent decides to counter our Lotus, we need to Force of Will that. Yeah, this is pretty awesome unless the opponent has something absurd turn 1 with Force backup, or double counter for the Lotus. And that is even countered if we draw land. So yeah, Tinker Citadel turn 1. Don't mind if I do. Let's see here. The opponent's on a mold of 5, so either that's very good news, or this game is going to be complicated. Let's say they play Mono White Initiative, and they reveal a Chancellor, and they go, like, turn 1 something. Like, then I'm really in trouble. Workshop. Okay. So, that can be... Okay, yeah, that card is not something we want to force. Okay, so we're going to go turn 1 Tinker. Sapphire is a good one, because now we... Wow, this is absurd. So now we don't even have to sacrifice... Yeah, crack our Lotus yet. So let's Tinker away the Crypt because of damage. Bolus is Citadel. Force of Will on top. Okay. So let's see here. If I go Black Lotus, cast Demonic Tutor, 1 black floating. Then I get a clear card from the hand. I can go get something like Vampiric Tutor. Yeah, this is pretty sick. So let's see here. Demonic Tutor. To shuffle and clear the top. I go for Vampiric Tutor because it's so good with Citadel. Cast Vampiric Tutor because I hit another brick. Then I cast Atraxa. Trigger Atraxa. Draw a million cards. Let's see. Sorcery. Artifact. Instant. Creature. Land. Yeah, this is absurd. I haven't even played a land yet. Done. Oko from the top. Let's go to 8 life. I can play that land if I want to, but I think I'm supposed to strip mine my opponent here. Nice turn. So the opponent could be playing Gola Shops and have something like Caracas, but I guess they didn't. Okay, nice turn 1. Okay, we came to play today. This is obviously the most absurd start you can even have with this deck. Okay, so the opponent... Oh my god. The opponent showed us that they're playing Shops. So Force of Vigor is obviously going to be awesome. I might think about Mindbreak Trap now that I'm on the draw. Let's see. Flusters are just bad. They don't have any targets for it, so... Mental Misstep is good for taking care of Hardcasted Cage, but I don't think that's super realistic. I wonder if that deck can even beat Sarah's Emissary on Creature. I'll be willing to try to go like double Emissary, double Atraxa. Then I'm going to switch my Tinker target to Sphinx. I need to put 3 more cards in the deck. That could be those 3. How does this look? I have my Okos. I have my Oaths. I have my Vigors. I have Show and Tell Emissary. Might not be perfect. I add a lot of variance here. But maybe that's okay. I have all my good cards here. I have my free forces, so I don't get smoked by turn 1 Sphere or whatever. Okay, I'll try this. Wow, what a draw. I can't get over that draw. That was just absurd. Okay, so we have a couple of forces and decent mana situation. No way to win the game, but lots of ways to not lose the game. So that's a keep. I think it's very hard to make like a rule of thumb with this deck, like what to keep. Oh, Island. Island and Foundry Inspector. That's, oh my god. Oath of Druids, what a draw. Island and Foundry Inspector in the same deck. Huh. So let's see here. I guess I'm supposed to go turn 1 Oath. Turn 1 Oath of Druids, pass. I have double Force up. Force for whatever, and then Force of Vigor for, hate like Grafdigger's Cage and stuff like that. One has 4 mana. Is this the One Ring? It's a Tinker. I'm not sure about that, buddy. Let's not face a Tinker here. Huh. Yeah, this is just absurd. Now I get to Oath, which, could hit like a bad creature that doesn't really advance my game plan here because I chose to trim the Atraxas, but still pretty awesome. Yes. I'll name creature, that's kind of the plan. Draw. Sensei's Divining Top, that's not bad. So basically, my opponent is... I didn't know about my opponent playing blue here. What I could have done was pitch the Atraxa instead of Time Walk, but I don't think that made any sense at the time, anyway. Let's see here. That's an Atraxa, which I like. Maybe I like the Vampiric Tutor as well. What if I go like that, like that, like that? So this way I have the Vampiric Tutor available. Let's say my opponent plays something crazy. Then I can spin the top, draw card. No, that doesn't work. I thought I was smart for a second. I really wasn't. I thought I could like get to a Force of Will this turn, but that's not the case. So let's see here, because now things can get a little bit tricky in the face of something like the One Ring. Because the One Ring gives my opponent protection, which makes it so that I can't Oath. Okay. Interesting. So now the opponent goes Metamorph. Yeah, this could get interesting. So now let's see what the opponent chooses. The opponent chooses creatures. Okay. The opponent chooses creatures, and now they want to play Sculpting Steel. So I feel like I should just kill the Emissary in response here. So kill Emissary. The opponent can now make a copy of top. I'm not sure I want that. I guess I'm just gonna draw. So now the opponent has to make a copy of a Mox. Sculpting Steel. It's been a while since I've seen that card. I think it's awesome. So now the opponent can attack for 1 if they want to. I have protection from creatures, so yeah, not really relevant. What happens? What happens here? Okay. Just some Magic Online thing. I'm not gonna use my Vamp actually, because I know I'm hitting the Atraxa that I want to. So yeah, let's trigger Oath, go get Atraxa. Planeswalker. Instant, artifact, land. Yeah, the opponent has seen enough. So what I could do here was pick these cards, then cast Vampiric Tutor for the best card of my deck, whatever that is at that point. Maybe like just Force of Will, put that into my hand, top of the deck, draw it on the draw step, and yeah, attack for 7 and get the job done. Wow, these draws were just super broken. Like, whenever you have a match of Vintage and you afterwards, you kind of have to ask your opponent exactly what did you play. Then you know you've had like some insane draws. But yeah, that's how it is in Vintage. Sometimes this is like the super highs of the deck being on display. But yeah, we take those. All right, that'll do it for round 1. See you in the next one. Okay, round 2. The opponent won the die roll. We're looking at this super mediocre hand. The opponent did not show any companion. I'm thinking mono white here. I think my opponent is like a pretty well-known grinder that I would not consider a vintage expert. So putting them on dredge or mono white is reasonable. I'm ready to be wrong, obviously. With that in mind, does this hand a keep? Yeah, I'll try and keep this hand, but I'm not super happy about it. Let's see. No Chancellor revealed. Let's see what the opponent can do here. If my logic is my opponent might be playing mono white, I'll probably Force of Will some acceleration here. Well, it's not Force of Will. I'll Force of Negate some acceleration. Preferably the good ones like Crypt or Lotus. Feels very bad to Force of Negate a Mox, but if like Archon of Emeria or Thalia, whatever is coming out of the Mox, so to speak, then it can be worth it. But yeah, let's see. Okay, Mox Emerald to play. I'll let Mox Emerald go, see what happens. Petal. Yeah, this is where things can get a little bit tricky. I'll try and Force Negate the Petal here. And basically try and isolate a mono white hand with Ancient Tomb no play. That could be too much to ask. Let's see. Wasteland no play. So maybe that was my opponent's only colored source. That's like the point of this hand. Wow, Forbidden Orchard even. So now I can go fetch land to protect against Wasteland. And then next turn I can go Oath out of an Orchard. There's a colored source. So I guess here comes a 3-drop. Okay, here comes Uncounterable Archon. Which is going to be very annoying because now it's going to be super slow to build my mana. I'm gonna fetch out Underground Sea in response because Archon is just so disruptive against fetches, etc. So here, let's draw a card, draw Archon, which is kind of worthless. My opponent has a Strip Mine and a Wasteland, so this is going to be a long one. As long as I'm only getting hit for 2 each turn by Archon, I think eventually I'll get to Oath. That's the dream right now. Let's see if I get stripped twice. Wasted twice, rather. Yeah, Strip Mine hits play. Trinisphere. I like that play. So now the opponent is basically locking me way down. Show and Tell. So Show and Tell and Oath are going to be castable at the same time. I'm going to get stripped again and play land. Yeah, this is some kind of... yeah, that's probably going to do it. Because now the opponent can develop more clock while keeping me down. So they can name either Oath or Show and Tell. And now I don't, let's see. I could hit the 15, then next time 10, next time 5, next time 0. I might have exactly enough time, but let's see. Solitude in my opponent's hand as the last card is pretty annoying. I get stripped. The opponent doesn't want to risk that I draw exactly Basic Island, which enters untapped. Wow! Okay. So now I can play Show and Tell next turn. My opponent will plow, quote unquote, plow my Atraxa though. It would be awesome if you didn't do anything, opponent. You don't have to keep playing things. Dismantler. Okay. So now I'll Show and Tell Atraxa. That will get solituded. I go to 17, but I have a full grip. So basically I need to find, like, Show and Tell Atraxa once more. I didn't. Okay. It didn't. So these cards are quite bad. I need the Atraxa. Let's see. 4, 7, 9. So I can Oko next turn. I don't think that helps me at all. I think I need to draw exactly Show and Tell from the top of my deck. Atraxa. Lotus. Brainstorm. Forbidden Orchard. Oko. Tinker. Done. Have to discard some cards here. I don't feel like Forbidden Orchard does anything. Maybe Tinker as well? Super tough. The Twinosphere kind of crushed me here. So all I can do here is hope for another Show and Tell. Then I can Show and Tell Atraxa into play and kind of stabilize. Yeah, another Oath is not going to do it. The opponent easily has lethal here, right? 4 plus 5, that's 9. So if I go... I can't Oko anything. Yeah, this is just over. Whew. What a game. I thought I had that for a second, but yeah, the opponent kept up the pressure and finished the job. So now I'm definitely going to switch Tinker Target. Just imagine Portal to Phyrexia in that game. And then, not quite sure about Sarah's Emissary. I think that's game over on the spot. Let's cut those forces, those flusters. Add that, add those 4. Now I can add one more card. Maybe it's Trap, like Protect turn 1. Okay. Let's try this out. Maybe I need Abrupt Decay as well, despite it being kind of hard to cast. Let's see. Mental Misstep. Yeah, let's not play that. Okay. Whew. What an action-packed game. I had pretty good tools to work with, but the opponent had just enough to delay me. The Basic Island, I thought it was super dead. The Basic Island was the only land in my deck that entered untapped through Archon. And then I could kind of skip a turn and Show and Tell, but I knew that was getting killed, so I needed the Show and Tell to find another Atraxa and another Show and Tell, which can be kind of a tall order. So let's see if Sarah's Emissary can take a game off our opponent here. The thing is, with Sarah's Emissary, if my opponent randomly decided to keep in Swords to Plowshares or Solitudes, which are so situational, my plan is bad. So it's kind of an interesting spot to be in, I would say. I'm expecting my opponent to have 4 containment priests, and then just, play their normal plan. Oof. Yeah. Thin margins, but that's how we like it. It feels so good with the white deck when you're like playing Archon, delaying your opponent, wasting, developing one more creature, and the opponent's life total is just slowly going down towards 0. Yeah. All right, we're on the play here for game 2. What can we do with this hand? I mean, we have a force. We have a dismember. This is fine. We have an angel in case we find a show and tell at some point. But obviously, right now we don't even have the means to start casting Oko, etc. So this hand needs some help, but it can definitely buy some time. I guess the worst that can happen is something like an initiative creature through a cavern or something. That would be quite tough. I just play basic island to not get wasted turn 1. Let's say I draw Oath of Druids, then it's just a good way to protect my mana situation. But I fear I have to play that Tropical at some point. Let's see what the opponent can cook up here. Sometimes you have a lot of options with mono white. Okay. The opponent with no turn 1 play, which is something I can't really take advantage of at this stage. Okay, Misty was a good draw because I'm still Wasteland proof, and I want to bridge to Oko next turn. I wonder which land I get. Maybe I just get Bayou. Bayou is a good dual pair with Basic Island, and I have like my 3 colors on 2 lands. Petal is also okay. So the way the opponent's playing here, they could easily go Cavern of Souls here. Again, same theory. Deploying the artifact mana first, keep me guessing. Yeah, here's the Cavern. Let's see what they're going to do about it. Looks like their hand is basically just leaning on Containment Priest. Orchard. Huh. Yeah, I don't think that... It doesn't really change my plan here. I can just play Oko and hope it's good enough. Oko, make a food. Can't really force the Containment Priest. I have a Dismember though, which is not bad. That Dismember can hopefully kill like Seasoned Engineer, and then I can start, pressing for the initiative. Huh. The opponent's playing this pretty strange. Sitting on... Not playing the Containment Priest out. I mean, if they even have it. Interesting. Like, we're on the opponent's turn 3. They have 4 mana, but they haven't played a creature out. Yeah, now I don't know what's in the opponent's hand, to be honest. But I like having like an Oko and an empty board with a removal spell and a Force Will in my hand. That's just something that can win games. Let's see. Wasteland? I'm not too scared about that. White Plume Adventurer. So the opponent's looking to take the initiative here, which I think I'm supposed to... Am I supposed to allow that? That's the question. I don't think so. I think this Force of Will is just supposed to do something while my opponent did not play anything out of Cavern, right? Let's see. Draw. Make that food token into a 3/3 and attack. I drew another land, which isn't exciting. Gonna just play the fetch. Now I can cast Dismember without life loss. So I'm mainly looking to dismember the 3/4, the Seasoned Dungeoneer this game, because the other creatures I can kind of handle with my 3/3s. Is this one more? Can't do anything about that if that's the case. Okay. I'll just fetch in response to have more mana available. I'm not gonna dismember the Archon. I believe that card is very beatable. I draw Strip Mine. Let's make another food. Let's attack for 3. Develop the Strip Mine. Pass a turn. Here comes Containment Priest, which is fine. I think my opponents had that all along, waiting for like a show and tell, and then they wanted to respond and kind of get my show and tell out of the picture. So now the opponent's going to start attacking the Oko. I have to think a little bit about this dismember now, because I don't want this Oko to die, but it's still like my opponent can play so many good cards, especially the Dungeoneer, that I'm going to hang on to this dismember just a little longer. Let's see. Opponent has 3 cards. Getting rid of my Strip Mine makes sense. Huh. Just passing again. Tinker. That is an extremely good card. Tinker will get me Portal, which will kill my opponent's board. Yeah, I'm just going to play that card. Wow, what a draw. So, Tinker, Portal to Phyrexia, Archon and Containment Priest down. And then my opponent kind of has to kill the Portal, or I'm just going to start reanimating White Plume, and this game is just going to be over. Oh, okay. The game's over now. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, what a draw. So basically, if I don't draw that Tinker for the instant KO, my plan is to make that food token that I sacrificed to Tinker, which is also absurd to think about, that you can sacrifice a food to go tinker up something brutal. I make that into a 3/3. I attack for 6, develop a land, then I get ready to kill one of the creatures, or maybe just even take 4 more damage on Oko. Like, Oko was just dominating that game. Okay. So Containment Priest definitely an issue. The opponent does not know about Sarah's Emissary, and we don't know about the opponent's removal suite or lack thereof. Which is a bit scary. Maybe it's supposed to be like a 2/2. I can see 2/2. If I'm gonna Oath twice, ideally I want to find like one of each, and they help with the blue count for Force of Will. Also, oh, by the way, I should probably not have Flash in here when I'm sideboarding like this. Huh. Can we go 5 Oath targets? Make the best show and tell deck ever? Yeah, let's try that, I guess. Okay. On the draw against initiative can sometimes be super complicated. That deck is mulliganing a bunch, though, on average. So maybe it's time for us to see that now. Portal in my opening hand is bad, but it does make show and tell like a good draw later. I don't think I can get away from this hand. I have a Dismember, I have an Oath. But yeah, we lose to the good cards out of that deck. Okay, no White Chancellor. I like that. So let's see how bad it is here. Opponent with Swords to Plowshares. That's scary. Let's see, is this Thalia? Thalia it is. Thalia is okay. It's a good open, but it's okay. Huh. Probably supposed to go fetch tropical. Pay life. Cantrip. Okay, so the opponent has no more pressure right now, but they do have a Loran, which is awesome and is uncounterable. Loran is good. I wonder. Oh, they drew the best card in the deck. Ugh, that's gonna be tough. So turn 1 Thalia, turn 2 Dungeoneer. That's gonna do it to us. We have very short amount of time to go get Portal going. So let's see. We play that out. Kind of bait our opponent into killing it with Loran. Let's see what they do here. I'm ready to dismember this Dungeoneer on site. They go for Forge. They forge onto that one. Okay, so we gain a little bit of tempo here, which I like a lot. Like, that's basically our only chance to win. So now I need my opponent to draw brick and then get kind of lured into playing out this Loran. That's the dream. Come on, opponent. Get greedy. You need a clock here. Wasteland. Okay, that's good. Wasteland is good. And then I lose my Mox, so maybe I just lose. Yeah, Wasteland was the perfect draw there, unfortunately. So now I get attack down to 9, then I get trapped down to 4 and attack down to 0. Yeah, that'll do it. Sapphire costs 1 mana, so I can't time walk. So yeah, that'll do it because opponent has 4 mana in play, and they go to the trap room, and 4 plus 5 is 9. So yeah, the opponent got us here in a very close game. They obviously don't know how close it was, but from our perspective, super close game, just like we like it. Let's see you guys for the next round. Thanks for watching so far. Okay, we're back after the savage beating handed to us by Mono White. Oh, that match was so close. Such thin margins. But yeah, here we are for the next one. We're on the draw. And our Mox is black, so we can cast an Empiric Tutor. And we have some force action. Yeah, we're going to keep this, and I'm really hoping my first draw step is useful, because then I can do some good things with Empiric Tutor. I'm going to let Lotus resolve here because I have the means to say no. And I would love if my opponent invested a Lotus into getting countered. Good little move here, floating first. Ooh, turn 1 Jewel. Turn 1 Jewel, baby. I'm going to pitch the Fluster. Opponent with 3 cards left. Okay. So there's definitely hope here. Wow, that is an amazing draw, because now I can go strip mine my opponent, play Moxjet, not look scary at all, go Vampiric Tutor for Forbidden Orchard while having another Force of Will in my back pocket. Oof. That's sick. Super sick. So let's see, the opponent has 3 cards. So basically how they win this game is to... 4 cards, sorry. They need to ask me a tough question, which Tinker certainly is. And then they have to ask me another tough question before I kind of take over the game. And that's going to be extremely hard. Like, wow, what a draw here. What a draw. Oh, yeah, downtime soon. Empiric Tutor for Orchard. Play Oath of Druids. Like, all of my resources gone here on Strip Mine double forcing for sending an Oath. And the opponent kind of have to win from here. Okay. So the opponent's gone turn 1 Jewel, turn 2 Tinker, turn 3 Ancestral, which is what they need to not be out of this game, right? So, yeah, perfect. We get an Atraxa, get a bunch of looks here. We can go Force, Instant, Oko Walker, Oath, Enchantment, Atraxa Creature, Lotus Artifact, or Top Artifact. Tough choices. This looks great to me. Done. So what do we draw there? Did we draw another Oko? Yeah, we must have. Okay. So let's see. What can we do here? We have Force with one of the Okos. That's totally fine. So maybe we play out one more Oko. So I go like blue, green, Oko, make a food token, pass. I make sure that I also get to Oath next time into the next Atraxa and kind of... But I guess that's the last one of my deck. Ooh. Let's see. Okay, so those go on the bottom in any order. Wow. This game is just... This game keeps on giving. The opponent tries to go Metamorph, and they want it to copy Atraxa. Oh my god, that's an absurd game. We had such a good draw that we could beat turn 1 Jewel, turn 2 Tinker, turn 3 Ancestral, turn 4 Metamorph. Like, this is my best draw lining up against my opponent's best draw. Wow. That's amazing. Okay, so against Jewel, we definitely like the Trap Null Rod combo. We also like the Force of Vigors. So let's put those in the deck. I really don't like Show and Tell in this matchup. I don't like Vampiric Tutor. The thing about Show and Tell is it can just backfire so tough. Like, oof. So what are we looking at? Maybe we were looking to keep the Vampiric Tutor and not have the Show and Tell at all. I think I like that. Let's check our blue count here. 15, 19, 20, 24. That's perfect. Okay. Oof. Wow. What we had some really good action games so far. Oh, so what do we have here? We have a hand that does not die turn 1. Just needs to draw any mana source and we can play Oath. And we even have a Null Rod for good measure. Basically just having double Force, Orchard, Oath. This Null Rod doesn't even matter here, I think. I think if I get to 2 mana, unless I'm like, the opponent resolves a 1-ring, I'm just going to play Oath. Okay, so maybe we're going to have a similar game here. Black Lotus, the opening play from the opponent, alongside Talion Academy. Holy smokes. 2 mana from Academy. Let's see what the opponent does here. I mean, we know since we have double Force and with double pitch that nothing bad is going to happen here. Needle. I don't mind that. What is the opponent going to name here? Oko? The opponent's going to name Wasteland. Sure. I don't play Wasteland, though. So that's not going to do anything. But it's going to turn on Metalcraft. I guess they didn't want... Oh. Okay. So let's Force Negate the Tray Ball. Opponent did not float for Opal, so I guess they don't have more plays. I draw another Atraxa, which is just my next Force fodder. It doesn't really matter. They're not going to attack my mana, so this Orchard is safe, and I just need to draw 1 mana source, and I'll be fine. So let's see here. Punish. That card doesn't do anything. It basically just gives my opponent Metalcraft and Clarion mana. That's fine. Land? Mox? That is indeed a land. And I'm gonna play Oath of Druids, and I'm gonna like it. Oath of Druids with Force blue card in hand. The opponent has a Force of Negation. I have a Force of Will. So now my opponent cannot draw a broken card this turn. And if they don't, I'll be in the driver's seat with an Atraxa and a handful of cards. Yeah, wow. That was so insane. Double Force action, quick Oath. Ah, just like we like it when we sign up with Oath of Druids for a vintage tournament. Ooh, that's pretty sick. I think I have one more match in me, so don't go anywhere. I'll be right back with the next round. All right, welcome to the last round of vintage action today. I'm playing Oath of Druids. I lost the die roll. I feel like we've been doing that a lot. And we're playing against Lurrus, which is going to be a cool matchup to showcase. My hand has turn 1 Oko and can draw like Atraxa, Bolas of Citadel, kind of go nuts with this show and tell. So I'm going to keep this hand, but this can go terribly wrong, especially against a card like Lavinia. But let's hope we don't have to face Lavinia before we even get a turn. Versus Saga, then Mox, then Mana Crypt, then Sol Ring. Okay, this is a lot of mana turn 1. Then put Lurrus to hand, I guess? Lurrus is in the opponent's hand. They developed versus Saga turn 1. Holy smokes. This could be very ugly. Let's see. Flusterstorm. Unfortunately, I don't think I can wait on my stuff here. I think I have to just do it. So let's try and play Oko. That happens. Yeah. Oof. A lot of action here from the opponent, and us for that matter. The Flusterstorm can come in handy. Let's say I draw like a Traxa, and then all of a sudden I look like a champ with backup. But it could also very well just be a terrible card this game. Okay, so the opponent didn't have anything else. The opponent can now make some way too big creatures here. Make that a 3/3. So at the moment, my opponent doesn't even know I'm playing Oath. I mean, maybe they're guessing I'm playing Oath, but they don't know for sure. Could be playing some kind of fair Sultai deck or whatever. Yeah, this is going to be very hard. Mana Crypt not doing me any favors here, so it's just like a double colorless accelerant with upside. Did the opponent just miss making one more token with Saga? It's very possible that's the case. This is actually, if that's the case, that's what I... Huh, my opponent have... Okay, they have better stuff to do, fair enough. And that's actually what I thought the card did. When I read it the first time, I was like, oh, you get a free construct? But no, you get 2 free constructs, which is kind of funny. This looks like paradoxical outcome if I've ever seen one. And I'm not happy about that fact. Paradoxical outcome, draw 4 cards. Sure. My Fluster wasn't going to do anything there. Wow, we're really getting smoked here. So when I thought we're playing against Lurrus, I thought it was like fair Lurrus, and that's like, I would call that a fun matchup. But here it's more like, can they, whose hand is the aggressor and whose hand is the defender, and then can you break through the opponent's defense, basically? Which is also, I like that kind of magic, but against stuff like Lurrus, sometimes it's like they're gaining a little bit of advantage slowly. We want to try and finish them out, find a good window, etc. But yeah. So this looks like another paradoxical outcome that I'm ironically gonna stop with Fluster. And the opponent can't do anything about that. They only have 2 mana floating here, so there's a chance we at least get the turn here without dying. So funnily enough, yeah, my opponent hasn't even made a land drop here. Chances are I'm getting smoked by our opponent's next play, but we're going to stay in it. Cycle Lauren revealed. Lauren revealed, what a card. Just multi-format all-star. Good in all formats. Just so strong. Okay, the opponent can go attack the Oko here. Oko's at 1. I need some, like, miracle. Yeah, that's not a miracle. Now I'll make the construct into a 3/3. That's terrible. Then stay back. This is just terrible. Like, there's no way my opponent's hand doesn't just beat me here. It looks like the opponent is not really respecting stuff like Hull Breacher, Orcish Bowmasters, etc. So maybe they just put us on Oath. That would be reasonable. Also, especially with the way they're playing. I think my dream of gaining a little bit of equity by the opponent maybe not, getting surprised by, your Oath, and then they just have like their hate cards in the sideboard. Maybe that's just not going to happen. The opponent lost a flip. Upkeep Vampiric Tutor. And yeah, that's going to be the end of me, because the opponent has a Time Vault in play, so just play Voltaic Key. And that's going to do it. Yeah, that's going to do it. Okay. Let's see if we can sideboard our way out of that matchup. Null and Traps are good. Vigors are good. That's 4 cards. I don't like Vampiric Tutor. That card is... yeah, card disadvantage. So let's see. This is actually a matchup where a card like Oko isn't the best. I'll at least trim 1 copy. I might trim 2. Show and Tell. I think you can easily trim like on some business cards in this matchup, because we're going to be the control deck some of the time. Okay, let's trim another Oko. So we basically trim win cons for Disruption alongside the top deck Tutor, which is like bad resource-wise. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Game 2 here. Pretty stacked hand on the surface. The thing is, that deck is not really putting creatures into play. So that Oath isn't as good as it looks. But this hand is still fine. I like going... let's see. Maybe Black Lotus first. See if we can get our opponent to make a bad decision with a Force. Then play top. Play from there. Lotus resolves. Sensei's Divining Top. We pass. We're ready to pitch the Atraxa to either Force of Vigor or Force of Will, depending on what happens. Mm-hmm. 6 mana. 9 mana pass. Wow, that's crazy. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look with top, looking to find a land. Ooh, baby. I think that's everything we ever wanted. So now I can go draw Orchard. Play Oath here. The opponent doesn't know. Ugh. Yeah. Then if my opponent counters, I'm probably supposed to counter back. Counter the negation. Oath happens. Draw with top. Time walk. Pretty sick. Pretty sick. and now get to Oath, and then like build another. Hopefully, build a crap ton of cards of defense here, and to make sure I don't die. Okay, let's see. Walker enchantment. I think I'm gonna go for Fluster as instant. Then I'm gonna go for Misty as a land. So this is only a draw 4, but that's fine. So done. Draw step. Another Misty. Not amazing. Not amazing. So I'm not gonna play the Oko. I'm gonna pass. Then I'm gonna Vigor. Target Crypt and tough call. Actually gonna target the Jet here. I feel like I'm in good shape. So if we get PO'd here, it's very, very unfortunate. We did not get PO'd. Okay, sick. The opponent won the flip, but that's fine. Now we have a Fluster, and we untap with another Atraxa trigger. The opponent needs to be a bad man here to do it to us. Top is fine. So my opponent can find something like Cage or whatever, something that disrupts the oathing part of my deck. They know about the Fluster, so cards like Paradoxical Outcome, Tinker, can't really... But I guess they couldn't even cast those cards for any profit, so those cards are just not on the menu here. But whatever. Time Walk, Ancestral Recall, you name it. I have a Fluster ready. How does that work? We put those cards on the bottom. I don't know if I want to shuffle. That's kind of hard to evaluate. Okay, so the opponent can attack for 1 here. I'm not going to block because I want to Oath, but they don't. Give my opponent a token. Fetch Underground Sea. Untap. Oath. I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to trigger Atraxa. I'm going to get Force of Will. I'm going to get Beseiju. I'm going to get Jet. I'm going to get Oath. That's 4 more cards to the fold. Then I'm going to draw. Then I'm going to play Jet. Should probably kill that Ursa Saga. Kill Ursa Saga. Costs only 1 mana with Beseiju thanks to Atraxa. I'm not going to play out my Oko because right now I have Force and Fluster backup, so I'll just attack for 7 here. So kind of slow and steady, which can be a bit scary. I need to get 3 hits in. The good thing about that is the Atraxas that I keep getting, they're kind of fueling the next wave of protection, I would call it. The opponent's activating Sensei's Divining Top off of the Volcanic Island they got from Beseiju. Mox Emerald is fine. So let's see here. I'll fetch another land out of my deck. Then I'll just take the turn. I don't think there's any reason to give my opponent a token. I'm gonna go... so let's see. 1, 2, 3. So maybe now I'm not supposed to Oath. Because I shuffled? Yeah, that was actually quite bad. Because I knew the cards on bottom. Yeah, so please, if you take anything away from this video, please take this. If I forgot that I pitched an Atraxa earlier. So once you... If, let's say, Atraxa is randomly the last card in the deck, you don't want to lose because of that, right? then you don't want to fetch because you just put a bunch of cards on the bottom with this trigger. By fetching, you randomize the deck, and that's bad in that scenario. So, and that could easily cost you a game, and we don't want that. So, attack my opponent to 6, play land, play a Null Rod I just drew, which is pretty absurd at this stage. Okay. It's like the opponent knows there's a force on top of the deck. So let's see. I have a force and a fluster. This is probably going to be fine. Yeah, I'm just going to let my opponent play. Now my opponent has to beat Force of Will and Flusterstorm. I think they know about both. They'll look with the top. Let's see what they come up with. Most likely we're going to a game 3 here for the conclusion. Opponent's going to draw on top. They have 2 cards. Demonic Tutor, floating 3 mana. If I fluster that, my opponent has to pay with all their mana. Is that good? I'm going to let my opponent have it. Can't really see how they get out of this. It's probably something to do with brain freeze that I didn't think about. Maybe they're some kind of breach deck on top of being a PO deck, but I'm really not sure. I think they know about Force Will and Fluster, but maybe, yeah, and Oko. They know about these 3, and even the Oath. I'll be very excited if my opponent comes up with a winning line here. Let's check this artwork out, by the way. Demonic Tutor, so it's like this, beware the generosity of demons. So this demon is basically leading this sailor or whatever on, yeah, I would guess to a bad place. Ancestral Recall. Let's say no. Pay 4 more mana, please. And then maybe our opponent is going to put Underworld Breach on the stack, and we force a will that. And they did their absolute best. Force of Will the Breach. And we're tied. Okay, so they actually used the graveyard a little bit there with Breach, but I don't think I'm supposed to do anything differently because of that fact. Okay, I'll submit here and try my best. I'm not sure this is a good matchup because that deck can sometimes just have Urza Saga and some counterspells, and I just lose to that, right? Then I have to be the aggressor, and I have to succeed at being the aggressor. If I lose a counter war, I'd most likely get beat down by construct tokens and maybe even my own spirit tokens. But I kind of need a good mix of fast action and probably also disruption to make sure I don't die. Like, that's super scary. Ooh. So, some good things is going on here. I have Force of Will and a blue card. That's good. Then I have Bolus of Citadel. In order to cast that card, I'll have to Demonic Tutor for Black Lotus. But if I do that, I go turn 2 Citadel, and I have a Force of Will. So despite Tinker and Citadel being in the hand, which is not ideal, of course, I actually think this will work out just fine. But let's see. Now the opponent also knows about my hand. That's not going to help. One says Dividing Top is fine. No land. That's just super confusing. So that must mean my opponent must have a ton of disruption. I think my plan has to change a little bit here. I think my plan rather is supposed to change a little bit here. Demonic Tutor, which might not even resolve, but yeah, okay. The thing is, my logic here is my opponent has one more force, but maybe that's just bad logic. So if I force back there, I'm naked, but I go get like Black Lotus, as I said, or I go get something like Null Rod. But I'm not sure that's the way to play. Yeah, maybe I played that poorly. Atraxa. Yeah, now I think my plan B here is really not ideal. I'll tinker here. Let's see if I get flustered. The reason why I'm tinkering here is because I want to get Black Lotus and I want to hardcast Citadel next turn. I'm basically back to the same plan. It's just like a way worse way to get there, basically. Ugh. Yeah. Fluster works. So now I have a dead Citadel in hand. I still have Force Blue card, which is a plus. The thing is, if I went for the first plan, like forcing through the Demonic Tutor, this Fluster does not help my opponent defend against Lotus Citadel. But it's so hard. Opponent puts Lures to hand. They now have some lands in play. I draw Beseiju. Huh. I guess I'm building towards that Hardcast Citadel. The opponent is not top end of turn. I feel like they're holding up Pyroblast at all costs here. Passing. So they're kind of playing the control role, which I like. I mean, it's cool. Oko. Okay. So let's play Oko. I assume this gets Pyroblasted with the way my opponent's been playing. Huh. Yeah, it's always I've had like a really good read on this opponent, but I can't really capitalize on it. So it's not useful at all to be like, oh yeah, now you probably have the fluster, now you have the pyro. I think you kept this hand because of Force of Will, la la la. Like, but what am I gonna do about it with this? I think the only thing I'm still not sure if it was right or not, but powering through the Demonic Tutor could have been cool. Now, playing in this scenario, it looks like, oh, it's anyone's game, but the reality is the opponent has a Sensei top. The opponent plays Ursa Saga, so there's a lot of cards that makes it very, very sad for me. Wow, Show and Tell. I mean, this is a must counter. Let's see what the opponent thinks about that card. 3 mana, 5 mana. Oh, so I'm most likely putting something into play here. Is it Bolas' Citadel or Atraxa? I'll look at my deck here. So if I hit like counters, they sit pretty on top. And I have a lot of other stuff that I just keep jamming. Yeah, I mean, let's see what this Citadel can do. The opponent's gonna Desperation draw on Sensei top, like that. Citadel enters. Let's see what the opponent has. Versus Saga. Wow, I have a Time Walk on top. This could get real strong. Wow, I just did it to him. Baby. Null Rod even. Let's go. So let's see. Land. Mox. I mean, yeah, let's fetch for a trop. Let's play Null Rod, I guess. Let's take my extra turn. Let's Oath into Atraxa. Oh boy. Yeah, this was awesome. Pretty awesome. So let's see. Yes, please. Trigger. Let's put Oath. Let's put... This is actually pretty terrible. But I guess I can hit stuff off the top of the deck. And I have a fetch, so maybe not the worst. Maybe go Mindbreak Trap. Those four. Show and Tell on top of the deck. You want to spend 3 life? I don't think so. Let's fetch. And now I have a negation. Okay. Okay, I guess I pass here. I have a Force of Negation. My opponent's gonna have some constructs, but maybe that's acceptable. Also, I can hit... the next Atraxa can hit like Beseiju or Vigor pretty easily. So yeah, we should have this game under lock and key here. Let's negate that from the top of our deck. Very fair. Have to remember to give my opponent a Orchard token. And then I Oath once more, refill my hand. Let's see if I can play it correctly this time. Let's say yes. Traxa, keep this. Look at the top 10. Like the Vigor, Sensei, Oko, Oath, Orchard, Show and Tell. 6 cards in hand. I even draw another Vigor, yeah. Yeah. So basically, my opponent makes a construct, and then I can kind of get rid of the Saga and a construct, I guess. But let's see. Am I playing anything out, or it doesn't matter? I'll just discard the top, it's fine. Back up to 15. Vigor on those two. No discard. Forcible on top. Plenty of life. Yeah, this is just locked up. This was a Show and Tell. Show and Tell Bolus' Citadel. That was awesome. So let's see. I think I'm just gonna draw the Force of Will and not bother about the O thing. Nope. Draw the Force. Play Jet. For no reason, I guess. Play top. Same thing. Attack with Atraxa. Opponent's at 2. I have a wall of counter magic. And that's how you do it. Pretty cool display here of Oath. We got to have some very powerful draws. We lost the tight one against Initiative. And I feel like we kind of rolled over a few decks, and then in the end here we kind of had to, thread the needle a tiny bit. Merchant Scroll. I'm actually gonna Merchant Scrolls. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm actually not going to allow that because, I don't know, something could happen with... Oh, yeah, I messed up there. I tapped 1 mana too many. Something can happen with Brain Freeze here that's not, like, ideal. Yeah, that'll do it. Whew. Yeah, so as I said, we had, like, some severe beatings of Blue Workshops, Jewel Shops, and Paradoxical Outcome Breach. And then we lost narrowly to Mono White. So overall, very, very strong showing. We got to showcase the power of Show and Tell, Oath of Druids, even Oko, just a bunch of free disruption. And yeah, Oath of Druids is one of the simpler vintage decks to play, I would say. But sometimes you get into like hard situations where you have to know what's exactly left in my deck, etc., etc. But overall, I definitely recommend this deck for if you're kind of new to vintage, and then you can kind of build and learn learn from there. But the baseline is pretty beginner friendly, I would say. All right, that will do it for today's vintage video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.